Hey everyone, it's your family doctor. So glad to be back with you again. One of the things I love most about my job is that I get to have real, honest conversations with people, not just about test results and prescriptions, but about what's actually going on in their lives. And over the years, I've noticed that there's one question that comes up again and again. It usually starts first thing in the morning. You wake up, you're still half asleep, you shuffle to the bathroom, do your business. And right before you flush, you glance down and your heart just stops for a second because there, floating on top of the water, is a layer of tiny, dense, tightly packed bubbles, not the big loose ones that disappear in a few seconds. These are fine, foamy, almost like the head on a freshly poured beer. And they just sit there. You flush once, they're still there. You flush again, still hanging around. And in that moment, your brain starts spiraling. Oh no, is this kidney failure? Is this protein in my urine? Am I going to end up on dialysis? How did this happen to me? I'm too young for this. I can't tell you how many times I've sat across from a patient who's gone through that exact scenario. By the time they get to my office, they've already done 3 hours of Googling. They've convinced themselves of the worst case scenario, and they're terrified. They've already imagined losing their job, missing out on their kids' lives, or becoming a burden on their family. And honestly, my heart goes out to them every single time. So they come in, we do the full workup, blood tests, urine tests, sometimes an ultrasound of the kidneys, and then the results come back. And there they are, red numbers, plus signs, elevated this borderline, that two pluses for urine protein, microalbumin creeping up, creatinine starting to inch higher, and the doctor tells them you have chronic kidney disease, your GFR, that's your glomerular filtration rate, is lower than WED-like. This condition is usually irreversible. We'll start you on some medications to slow the progression, and if those don't work, we may be talking about dialysis in the future. And at that point, for a lot of people, the world just stops. They go home, they sit on the couch, they stare at the wall, and they feel completely powerless. They feel like their body has betrayed them, like there's nothing they can do, like they're just passengers on a train heading in a bad direction. But here's what I want to tell you today, and I hope you really hear this. You are not powerless, and fear is the worst thing you can add to this situation. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Fear does something to your body when you're terrified. Your adrenal glands pump out cortisol and adrenaline. Your blood pressure goes up, your heart rate increases, your blood vessels constrict, and all of that, every single one of those stress responses puts extra strain on your kidneys, which are already asking for support, not more pressure. It's like if you had a sprained ankle and someone told you to run a marathon. That's what fear does to your kidneys when they're already struggling. In traditional medicine, there's a very old, very wise saying that fear damages the kidneys, and I've seen that play out in real life so many times. I've had patients whose lab results were actually not that bad, maybe mildly elevated protein, maybe a slight dip in GFR, but they were so consumed by anxiety that their blood pressure spiked, their sleep fell apart, they stopped eating well, and everything got worse. On the flip side, I've had patients with much more concerning numbers who stayed calm, followed a sensible plan, made steady changes, and over time, their numbers improved or stabilized. So I want to say this with all the warmth I can. The first step in managing any health concern is to take your fear and put it in a box. Acknowledge it, thank it for trying to protect you, and then set it aside because we have work to do, and fear is not going to help us get there. Now, let's talk about those bubbles. Let's really understand what they are, what they aren't, and what they might mean. First of all, not every bubble in your urine means your kidneys are in trouble. There are plenty of innocent reasons why you might see bubbles. For example, if you didn't drink enough water yesterday, maybe you were busy, maybe you were traveling, maybe you just forgot, your urine becomes more concentrated. That concentration can cause bubbles to form. Or maybe you're a man and you're standing up and the stream hits the water with a little more force than usual. That physical impact can create bubbles too. Or maybe there's some soap residue in the toilet bowl from cleaning. That happens more often than you'd think. So before you panic, take a breath and ask yourself, am I dehydrated? Did I just stand up? Could there be a simple explanation here? The kind of bubbles we really care about, the kind that should prompt you to check in with your doctor, are the ones that are fine, dense, and persistent. They're small, they're tightly packed, they look like foam, and they don't go away after a few flushes. They linger. They sit there like they're waiting for something. That's the kind of bubble that we call proteinuria in medical terms. And proteinuria simply means that there's protein in your urine, protein that shouldn't be there. Now, let me explain what that means from a Western medical standpoint, and then let me offer you a broader perspective in Western medicine. We look at the kidney as a filter. Inside each kidney, there are about 1 million tiny filtering units called nephrons. Each nephron has a little structure called a glomerulus. Think of it as a very fine mesh strainer. Normally, that strainer holds onto large molecules like proteins, while letting smaller waste products pass through into the urine. But if that strainer gets damaged, if the mesh becomes loose or develops small tears, then proteins can slip through and end up in your urine. That's proteinuria. The conventional treatment approach focuses on slowing that damage down and patching the leaks. Medications like ACE inhibitors, ARBs, or even steroids and immunosuppressants are often prescribed. These drugs can reduce the amount of protein leaking out, and they can help protect the kidneys from further damage. And for many patients, they're an important part of the picture. But here's the thing, and I want you to think about this with me. If all you do is try to patch the holes without understanding why the strainer got damaged in the first place, are you really fixing the root problem? Why did your strainer tear when someone else's didn't? What was going on in your body that made that damage happen? And those medications, especially steroids, can come with significant side effects. They can suppress your immune system, they can thin your bones, they can cause weight gain, fluid retention, mood changes, and over time they can actually make you feel worse in other ways. I've seen many patients who are on steroids for years, and while their urine protein numbers improved, their overall quality of life declined. They felt swollen, weak, exhausted, and fragile. So while I'm not saying those medications are never useful, they absolutely have their place. I am saying that there is more to the story. There's another way of understanding what's going on, and that understanding can give you more tools to work with in traditional medicine. And I want to be clear, this is a perspective that has been developed and refined over thousands of years. The kidneys are viewed very differently. They're not just filters. They are considered the very foundation of your body's energy, vitality, and longevity. They are called the root of life, and they have many functions that go far beyond what we measure in a standard blood or urine test. One of the most important functions of the kidneys in this traditional view is something called consolidating or holding. This means the kidneys have the job of keeping your body's most precious substances locked inside, where they belong. Think of it like a tightly sealed treasure chest, or a drawstring bag that holds your most valuable possessions. Those possessions include your vital essence, your jing, which is your deep constitutional energy that you inherited from your parents. They include your blood, your fluids, your hormones, your immune factors, all the things that keep you strong, resilient, and healthy. When your kidney energy is strong, especially what we call kidney yang, which is the warming, active, energetic side, that drawstring is tight. That treasure chest is sealed, nothing leaks out, but when your kidney energy becomes depleted from stress, poor sleep, unhealthy diet, overwork, or other factors, that drawstring loosens, the seal breaks. And that's when valuable substances like proteins can slip out of your blood and into your urine. That's when you see those fine, persistent bubbles. So instead of seeing those bubbles as a terrifying enemy, I want to invite you to see them as a letter from your body, a signal, a message that says, hey, I'm running low on energy here. The gate isn't holding as tight as it used to. I need you to help me rebuild my strength. It's not a death sentence. It's not a guaranteed path to dialysis. It's a wake-up call, and you have the power to answer that call. Now, let me take you deeper into what the kidneys actually do, because once you understand how important they are, you'll also understand why supporting them matters for every part of your health. First, the kidneys store essence and govern growth, development, and reproduction. Your kidney essence is like your body's savings account. Part of it is given to you at birth. That's your constitutional inheritance from your parents. The rest is built over your lifetime through good nutrition, quality sleep, and healthy lifestyle habits. This essence determines how you grow and develop. It's what allows a child to grow into a teenager and a teenager into an adult. It's what triggers puberty, drives physical development, and supports reproductive health. In the ancient medical texts, they said that for girls around age 14, the essence becomes full enough to start menstruation. For boys around age 16, the essence becomes full enough to produce sperm. And later in life, when the essence declines, fertility declines too. That's not a moral judgment, it's simply biology. But here's what I see all the time in my practice. Younger couples in their late 20s or early 30s who are struggling to conceive. They've been to fertility specialists, they've had all the tests, and everything comes back within normal limits. Yet they still can't get pregnant. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes, the underlying issue is depleted kidney essence. They've been burning the candle at both ends for years, working long hours, sleeping poorly, eating on the run, dealing with constant stress. Their savings account is empty. And when your savings account is empty, you can't make a big investment, like creating a new life. So, one of the first things I talk about with these couples is not just fertility treatments, but rebuilding that deeper foundation. Second, the kidneys regulate water metabolism. This is more than just making urine. The kidneys, powered by kidney yang, act like a fire that transforms and distributes fluids throughout your body. When that fire is strong, water moves properly, it hydrates your tissues, flushes out waste, and keeps everything flowing smoothly. But when kidney yang is weak, that fire dims. Water doesn't circulate well. It pools in your lower body, your feet, your ankles, your lower legs. That's why you get that puffiness, that swelling that leaves a dent when you press on it with your thumb. It's also why some people feel heavy or bloated even though they haven't eaten much. Their water pump just isn't working at full power. Think of it like a sump pump in a basement. When the pump is strong, water gets moved out. When the pump weakens, water starts to accumulate. Third, the kidneys grasp the breath. This is one that surprises a lot of my patients. Most people think breathing is entirely a lung function, and yes, your lungs are the main organs of respiration, but the kidneys play a supporting role. They help anchor your breath down into your lower abdomen, giving it depth and stability. When kidney energy is strong, you can take a full deep breath that feels like it reaches all the way to your belly. But when kidney energy is depleted, your breathing becomes shallow. You feel like you can't get a full lungful of air. You might feel short of breath just walking up a flight of stairs or carrying a grocery bag. And this is especially common in older adults or in people with chronic respiratory conditions. They treat their lungs with inhalers and steroids, but they never address the kidney piece. And until that piece is addressed, they never get full relief. Fourth, the kidneys govern bones, produce marrow, and connect to the brain. Your kidney essence produces marrow, and marrow fills your bones. Strong kidney energy means strong bones. That's why we see so many bone-related issues, osteoporosis, fractures, brittle bones, in people with depleted kidney energy. It's also why children with weak kidney energy may have delayed growth or soft bones, but it doesn't stop there. The marrow also includes spinal marrow and brain marrow. In traditional medicine, they say that the brain is the sea of marrow. When your kidney essence is abundant, your brain is well nourished. You think clearly, you remember well, you process information quickly. But when kidney essence declines, your brain loses its nourishment, memory fades, cognitive processing slows down, and you might feel foggy or forgetful. This is why we see such a strong connection between kidney health and cognitive decline in older adults. It's not just about amyloid plaques or blood flow. It's about the deep energetic reserve that feeds your brain. Fifth, the kidneys show in your hair and your ears. Your hair is a direct reflection of your kidney vitality. When kidney energy is strong and abundant, your hair is thick, lustrous, shiny, and full of life. When kidney energy declines, hair can thin, turn gray prematurely, become brittle, or fall out more than usual. That's why some people in their 40s or 50s have lush, dark hair, while others in their 20s are already seeing significant graying or thinning. It's not just genetics. It's a reflection of kidney vitality. Similarly, your ears and hearing depend on kidney energy. The kidneys open into the ears. When kidney energy is strong, your hearing is sharp and clear. When it's depleted, you may experience tinnitus, that ringing, buzzing, or hissing sound in your ears, or gradual hearing loss that seems to come out of nowhere. I've had patients who tried everything for their tinnitus, eardrops, allergy medications, even sound therapy, but the real root was kidney depletion. When we addressed that, they noticed a real improvement. Sixth, the kidneys control urination and bowel movements. When kidney yang is strong, the bladder holds urine properly. You can sleep through the night without waking up multiple times. You can go about your day without worrying about urgent trips to the bathroom. But when kidney yang weakens, the bladder doesn't close tightly. That's why you might wake up 3, 4, or even 5 times a night to urinate. That's why you might experience dribbling, leakage, or a feeling that you can't fully empty your bladder. It's also why some people, especially older adults, experience minor bowel incontinence. The muscles just don't hold as well as they used to. All of these can be tied back to kidney energy. So look at that list: growth, reproduction, water metabolism, breathing, bones, brain function, hair, hearing, bladder control, bowel control. Your kidneys are involved in almost everything. That's why I always say, take care of your kidneys and you take care of your whole body. When the roots are strong, the whole tree thrives. When the roots are weak, the whole tree suffers, no matter how much fertilizer you spray on the leaves. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why are so many modern people dealing with kidney depletion, sometimes in their 30s and 40s, sometimes even younger? Our lifestyle is full of habits that silently drain our kidney energy day after day, year after year. Let me walk you through the 5 biggest drains. Number one, overuse of medications. I have to put this at the top because it's so common and so underappreciated. Pain relievers, ibuprofen, naproxen, even acetaminophen when taken in large amounts, antibiotics, anti-inflammatory drugs, steroids. Every time you take one of these, your liver and kidneys have to process it, break it down, and clear it out. That's their job. But when you do it day after day for headaches, back pain, menstrual cramps, minor infections, you're making your kidneys work overtime. It's like driving your car in first gear on the highway every single day. Eventually, the engine wears out. In Western medicine, we even have a term for this: drug-induced kidney injury. That's our own field acknowledging that the very medications we prescribe can cause harm. In traditional medicine, many of these drugs are seen as very cold and harsh. They may suppress symptoms quickly, but they also drain your body's warmth and vitality in the process. So, one of the simplest things you can do for your kidneys is to ask yourself, do I really need this medication right now? Is there a more natural way to manage this pain or symptom? And always talk to your doctor before stopping or changing any prescribed medication, but at least start having that conversation. Number two, cold foods and drinks. Your kidneys love warmth. That kidney yang I mentioned, it's like a small, steady fire at the very center of your body. It's the flame that keeps everything warm, moving, and alive. When you drink ice cold water, iced coffee, cold soda, or eat frozen desserts, you're pouring cold water directly on that flame. Once in a while, your body can bounce back, but every day over time, that flame gets smaller and smaller, kidney yang weakens, the drawstring loosens, and problems start to show up, not just bubbly urine, but also feeling cold all the time, lower back pain, fatigue, low libido, and more. That's why one of the first things I tell my patients is switch to warm or room temperature beverages. Drink hot tea, warm lemon water, or just plain warm water throughout the day. Your kidneys will thank you. Number three, overexertion, especially sexual overactivity, but also physical and mental overwork. There's very ancient wisdom that excessive sexual activity drains kidney essence. I want to be clear here. I'm not saying you should become celibate. Far from it, sexual activity is a natural, healthy part of life. But like anything, moderation matters. If you're overdoing it, especially if you feel exhausted, drained, or depleted afterward, that's a sign that you're spending more than you're earning. The same goes for physical exertion. Heavy labor, intense workouts, training for a marathon without proper recovery, all of those can drain your reserves. And mental overwork is just as real. Working 12-hour days, constantly thinking about deadlines, worrying about projects, never giving your brain a break. That also depletes kidney energy. Your essence is your savings account. You need to spend wisely. Number four, staying up late and chronic sleep deprivation. Our bodies are designed to follow the rhythm of the sun, up during the day, asleep at night. Nighttime is when your body does its deepest restoration. That's when your yin energy, your nourishing, replenishing energy, comes forward. Specifically, the hours between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. are considered the most crucial for restoring kidney essence. When you stay up late watching TV, scrolling through social media, or working, you're not just losing sleep, you're actively depleting your reserves, you're dipping into your principal, not just your interest, and over time, that adds up. I've had so many patients in their 30s who tell me, I've always been a night owl, I thought it was fine, and then they start having health issues, fatigue, brain fog, weight gain, hormonal imbalances. Those are not coincidences. That's their kidneys asking for rest. Number five, chronic stress and fear. We touched on this earlier, but it deserves its own space. When you live in a constant state of low-grade anxiety, worrying about money, relationships, work, the future, your kidney energy suffers. That's why in the ancient texts they said fear damages the kidneys. It's not abstract. It's physiology. Chronic stress raises cortisol, raises blood pressure, raises inflammation, and all of that puts extra strain on your kidneys. I've seen it so many times. A patient gets a tough diagnosis or loses a job or goes through a divorce and their kidney function takes a hit. The connection is real. So one of the most powerful things you can do for your kidneys is to find ways to calm your mind. Meditation, prayer, nature walks, deep breathing, talking to a friend. It's not indulgence. It's medicine. Now, let's get to the part that everyone really wants to know. What can you actually eat and do to rebuild your kidney energy? Here's the truth. The best medicine for your kidneys isn't in a flashy bottle from a health food store. It isn't imported from some faraway country at great expense. It's right in your local grocery store. It's been known for centuries, and it costs very little. I'm going to share with you three simple, affordable, and profoundly effective foods that I call the kidney boosting three treasures. These are real whole foods that your body knows how to use. And if you incorporate them into your daily routine, I believe you'll see more benefit and more lasting benefit than from most over the counter supplements. Treasure number one. Black sesame seeds. In traditional medicine, black foods are naturally associated with the kidneys, black beans, black rice, black mulberries, and especially black sesame seeds. Black sesame seeds are tiny, really tiny, but don't let their size fool you. A single sesame seed can grow into a whole plant that produces hundreds of seeds. That's an enormous amount of life energy packed into a small package. Black sesame seeds are especially good for nourishing kidney yin and kidney essence. If you're dealing with premature gray hair, thinning hair, dizziness, tinnitus, lower back pain, or a foggy memory, black sesame seeds can be incredibly helpful. They also nourish your liver, which is important because the liver and kidneys are closely connected. In traditional medicine, they say the liver and kidneys share the same source, but here's the catch. You have to eat them the right way. Most people buy a bag of black sesame seeds and sprinkle them on their oatmeal or salad, thinking they're getting the benefit, but they're not. Because first, the seeds need to be toasted. Raw sesame seeds have a protective outer layer that makes them hard to digest. If you eat them raw, they'll often pass right through your system without releasing their nutrients. So you need to gently toast them in a dry pan over low heat until they're fragrant, and you can easily crush them with your fingers. Second, they need to be ground. Whole seeds, even if toasted, are still too large for your body to fully absorb. You need to grind them into a powder. Use a coffee grinder, a spice mill, or a traditional mortar and pestle. Once they're ground, the nutrients are bioavailable and ready to work. And third, you need to be consistent. This is food, not a quick fix. You can't take a spoonful once and expect a miracle, but if you eat 1 or 2 tablespoons every day over time, you'll start to notice changes. One of my favorite ways to enjoy black sesame seeds is as a warm, comforting paste. Take your ground toasted black sesame powder, mix it with a little bit of sticky rice flour to give it some thickness, then pour in hot water and stir. You'll get a rich, nutty, slightly sweet porridge that's absolutely delicious. You can also customize it. If you feel your blood is a little low, add some chopped red dates or jujubes. If your digestion is sensitive, add a little yam powder, have it for breakfast or as an afternoon pick-me-up. Do this for a couple of months, and I promise you, you'll see changes in your hair, your skin, your energy, and even your memory. There's also an ancient preparation method where black sesame seeds are steamed and sun-dried 9 times, called 9 steaming, 9 sunning. Then they're ground and mixed with honey into small pills. This process is more labor-intensive, but it makes the nutrients even more accessible to your body. If you have the time and interest, it's a wonderful thing to try, but even the simpler version, toasted, ground, and eaten daily, will give you real benefits. Black sesame seeds are a true gift for your kidneys. Treasure number 2, walnuts. Have you ever cracked open a walnut and looked at the kernel inside? Take a moment to really look at it. It resembles a tiny brain left hemisphere, right? Hemisphere, even little folds and crevices. That's not a coincidence. In traditional medicine, they say nourishes, foods that look like a certain organ can benefit that organ, and walnuts are a perfect example. They support both your kidneys and your brain because, as we already discussed, your kidneys and brain are deeply connected through marrow. If your kidneys are well nourished, your brain is well nourished. If your kidneys are depleted, your brain feels the effects. Walnuts are warm in nature, so they're especially good for building kidney yang, that warming fire that drives your body's functions. They also help consolidate kidney energy, which is exactly what we need when that drawstring is loose and proteins are leaking into the urine. And they're good for your lungs too. They can help with respiratory conditions that are linked to kidney deficiency, especially the kind of shallow breathing that gets worse in cold or windy weather. So how should you eat them? First, don't overdo it. Walnuts are rich in healthy oils, which is great. But too many can burden your digestion, cause loose stools, or even create phlegm. 2 or 3 walnuts a day is enough. You don't need a whole bowl. Second, choose the plainest version you can find. Stay away from the sugary glazed walnuts, the salted roasted ones, or the candied versions you might see at holiday markets. Those added sugars, salts, and oils can actually stress your kidneys. Buy them in the shell if you can. That's the freshest option. Crack them yourself and eat the raw nut meat. It has a subtle, earthy, slightly sweet flavor that grows on you. Third, you can incorporate them into your meals. Chop a couple into your oatmeal. Grind them with black sesame and black beans for a kidney-supporting smoothie, or just eat them as a snack. And here's a bonus tip that I don't hear many people talk about inside the walnut shell between the 2 halves. There's a thin, woody divider. It looks like a tiny butterfly or a piece of thin wood. Most people break open the shell, pop out the nut, and throw that divider away. Don't! That divider has been used in traditional medicine for a very long time to support kidney consolidation and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. You can collect a few of these dividers, put them in a cup, pour hot water over them, and let them steep for a few minutes. It makes a mild, slightly bitter tea that's very gentle and effective. So the walnut, from its nut to its inner partition, is truly a whole body treasure. Treasure number 3, yam, specifically Chinese yam or shan yao. This is the real MVP. I honestly believe yam is one of the most underrated foods on the planet. It's one of the gentlest, most balanced, most versatile tonics you can find. It's neutral, neither warming nor cooling, so almost anyone can eat it regardless of their constitution, and it works on two of the most important systems in your body, your kidneys and your digestive system. Let me explain why that matters. In traditional medicine, your kidneys are your before birth foundation. The energy you inherited from your parents, your digestive system is your after birth foundation. The energy you create every day from the food you eat if your digestive system is weak. You can eat the most expensive, highest quality foods in the world, but your body won't absorb them well. They'll just pass through. So before you can effectively nourish your kidneys, you need to make sure your digestive system is working properly. Yam does both at the same time. It strengthens your digestion while also supporting your kidneys. It's a 2-for-1 deal, and it's incredibly powerful. Yam also has a natural astringent quality, meaning it helps seal that loose drawstring we talked about. It helps prevent valuable proteins and nutrients from leaking out into your urine. And it does all of this gently without any harsh side effects. If you're dealing with bubbly urine, lower back pain, fatigue, poor appetite, or loose stools, yam is a wonderful addition to your diet, and the best part, it's so easy to incorporate into your meals. You can steam it, slice it, chop it, or grate it. One of my favorite ways is to simply steam the whole yam with its skin on. Just wash it well, cut it into sections, and steam until it's soft. The skin peels off easily, and the flesh is soft, slightly sweet, and satisfying. You can eat it like a potato, as a side dish, or even as a snack. Another wonderful way is to slice it and add it to your soups. Chicken soup, pork bones, soup, vegetable broth. It absorbs the flavors of the broth and becomes meltingly tender. Or you can grate it and add it to your porridge or oatmeal for a creamy, nourishing breakfast. One of my absolute favorite combinations is yam with foxnut seeds and pearl barley. Foxnut seeds are traditionally used to support the kidneys and remove excess moisture from the body. Pearl barley is excellent for clearing dampness and supporting digestion. When you combine all three, you get a wonderfully balanced, mildly sweet congee that supports your kidneys, strengthens your digestion, and helps clear any excess fluid or heaviness from your body. If you feel heavy, sluggish, or if your stools are loose and your urine has bubbles, this congee is an excellent choice. So think about this. Black sesame nourishes kidney yin and essence. Walnuts warm kidney yang and help consolidate. Yam supports both yin and yang while strengthening digestion and holding energy in place. One nourishes the deep substance, one warms the fire, and one balances and anchors everything. Together, they cover almost every angle of kidney support, and they're real whole foods that your body knows exactly how to use. No empty promises, no hype, just good, honest nutrition. And this is a big but, food alone is not enough. I need to be really clear about this. You can't eat these 3 treasures every day and then continue staying up until 2 in the morning, drinking ice water and running on empty. That would be like filling a beautiful bathtub with warm water while the drain is wide open. You'll never fill it up. So let's talk about the lifestyle changes, the rest of the equation, that are just as important as what you put on your plate. First, and absolutely non-negotiable, sleep early. I'll say it 3 times because it matters that much. Sleep early, sleep early, sleep early. Try to be in bed by 10:30 at night, and definitely before 11, the hours between 11 p.m. And 3 a.m. are the most critical for restoring your kidney essence. This is when your body shifts into deep restoration mode, when your yin energy becomes most active, when your blood and fluids are replenished, and when your kidney reserves are rebuilt. If you're awake during those hours, you're not just missing sleep. You're actively burning through your reserves. So let me be blunt. If you want to support your kidneys, you have to make sleep a priority, not a luxury. A priority second, stay warm. I can't stress this enough. Avoid cold food and drinks. Let everything you consume come to room temperature or warmer. Drink warm water, warm tea. Warm soups keep your lower back warm. That's where your kidneys live. Wear layers, especially in winter, and keep your feet warm. In traditional medicine, they say that cold enters the body through the feet and the lower back, two areas that directly affect the kidneys. So if you're walking around barefoot on cold floors or wearing thin shoes in the winter, you're inviting cold into your kidney space. A simple pair of warm socks or slippers can make a real difference. Third, moderate your activities, including sexual activity. I want to be very careful here because I don't want you to misunderstand me. I'm not advocating for complete abstinence, but I am advocating for balance and self-awareness. If you feel drained, exhausted, or depleted after sexual activity or after any intense physical activity, that's a sign that you're spending more than you have. Listen to your body. It's giving you feedback. If you're tired, slow down. If you're worn out, rest. Your essence is your life savings. Spend it wisely, and it will last you a long time. Spend it recklessly, and you'll run out. Fourth, calm your mind. This is so important. Let go of unnecessary fears. Most of the things we worry about never actually happen, but the worrying itself takes a real toll on our bodies. When you feel anxiety rising, take a deep breath, take a walk in nature, sit quietly for 5 or 10 minutes, practice deep breathing, or soak your feet in warm water before bed. This is one of my favorite recommendations because it's so simple and so effective. Warm water draws your energy downward, calms your nervous system, and supports your kidneys. You can also gently massage the area on the bottom of your foot. There's a very important kidney energy point there, and a little daily pressure can go a long way. Fifth, move your body. But gently. You don't need to run marathons or do high-intensity interval training every day to be healthy. In fact, for many people, that kind of exercise can be too taxing. It causes heavy sweating, which depletes fluids, and it puts stress on your adrenal glands, which are right next to your kidneys. What works best for most people is moderate, consistent movement, brisk walking, light jogging, tai chi, qigong, yoga, swimming, or cycling at a comfortable pace. These activities keep your blood flowing, your energy moving, and your muscles strong without exhausting your reserves. Think of it as moving with kindness, not pushing with force. So let me bring all of this together for you in a simple, actionable message. When your body sends you a signal like bubbles in your urine, don't panic. Don't let that signal become a source of fear. Instead, thank your body for telling you something needs attention. Then use that information to take positive, meaningful action. Adjust your diet. Improve your sleep, reduce stress, stay warm, move gently, and be patient with yourself. Healing takes time. Your kidneys are your roots. When you water the roots, the whole tree thrives. Your energy, your hair, your bones, your memory, your breathing, your digestion, and your overall vitality will all improve. Not because of any magic pill, but because you're giving your body what it actually needs to do its own healing. So today I invite you to make just one small change. Swap that iced beverage for a warm cup of tea, go to bed 30 minutes earlier, use the money you would have spent on an expensive supplement to buy a bag of black sesame seeds, a handful of walnuts, and a fresh yam from the produce aisle. These are not dramatic changes. They're simple, sustainable, and they work. Do them consistently for 3 months, and I truly believe, you will see and feel the difference. Your energy will be better, your mood will be calmer. Your body will feel more grounded, and those worrisome bubbles, for so many of my patients, they gradually become less frequent, less dense, and eventually they fade away entirely. Your body is the most loyal, hardworking partner you will ever have. It talks to you through signs and symptoms, not to punish you. Not to scare you, but to guide you. Listen to it, care for it, give it the rest, the warmth, the nourishment, and the peace it needs. And when you do, it will repay you with more health, vitality, and resilience than any medication or procedure ever could. As always, if you're dealing with any health concerns, whether it's bubbly urine, fatigue, back pain, or anything else, please schedule a visit with your primary care doctor. I'm here to help you understand the science and the tradition behind these ideas. But I'm not here to replace your own doctor's professional medical advice. They know your full history, and they should always be your first stop. Drop a comment below if you found this helpful or if you're planning to try any of these tips. I read them, and I love hearing from you. We'll see you next time. Until then, take good care of yourself and take good care of your kidneys. They're doing so much for you every single day.